Salutations, Waddle Gang. After a 6-month hiatus, I'm finally making another video. I know I kinda shot myself in the foot by taking such a long break, and I might be doing it again by coming back with a video called Top 5 Anime Groomers, but it's important for an artist to bring out their passion in their work. In case anybody's uninformed, grooming is a term that was coined after people realized it isn't just weird to sexually pursue minors, but it's also weird to discreetly sexually pursue minors while patiently waiting for them to become legal. Anime has always had a bit of an issue with things of this pedophilic nature, but because they're cartoons, they get a pass a lot of the time. I can go on N-hentai and see incest porn where the girl is 9 years old and I will face no legal consequences. It's technically written down as a law, but it's not really enforced. It's kinda treated like speeding. If it's your Nissan, you can go 10 over the speed limit, and if you're her Nissan, you can go 10 under the age limit. What I'm trying to say is, anime has a lot of groomers, and as an avid warrior of social justice, sometimes I think it can go a bit far in promoting these ideas, especially to a younger audience. With this in mind, it's important that people tackle these issues with care and empathy, which is why today we'll be focusing on the top 5 anime groomers. Due to time constraints and my own personal aversion to being placed on an FBI watch list for spending too much time doing research for this video, we won't be able to do a top 10, but maybe in the future, after I reactivate my VPN subscription, we'll be able to go bigger and get to a top 25, even a top 100, and then you'll get to see some of your favorite groomers too. Please keep in mind this is my list, and if your favorite groomer did not make the list, don't take it personal. Starting off at number 5, we have Makima from Chainsaw Man. Makima is a very insidious groomer due to the fact that she's a woman playing into a mommy fetish that several fans of Chainsaw Man undoubtedly have. Because of this, it becomes more difficult for people to view her as problematic, as widespread horniness often cancels out moral predicaments. She's essentially hiding in plain sight, and I admire that. One of her goals in the show is to turn 16-year-old Denji into her dog by throwing sexual advances at him to manipulate him, which works very well. As I'm writing this, I just realized that if the sexes were reversed and I said that the grooming worked very well, I would get cancelled, and by that I mean I'd lose about 2 subscribers. Out of all the pedophiles in anime, I've gotta say Makima is the one who probably has more porn drawn of them than their victim. Anyway, the reason she's at the bottom of the list is because she didn't really have to put in much work to groom her victim. It would be like if she was a car salesman and Denji was a customer who needed literally any vehicle in the next hour because he was being chased by the cops. It would be too easy. Of course, this is influenced by the fact that Denji is a horny teenage boy, but it means Makima doesn't have to try very hard. And if there's anything I hate more than pedophiles, it's pedophiles with low work ethic. The real question is, am I bothered by Makima? Not at all, but I would be if she was a man. At number 4, we have Kimura from Azumanga Daioh. For all of my Zoomer viewers, if you don't know who Kimura is, he's the man who first uttered the phrase "my waifu" back in 2002.
なんだ女の人の写真綺麗な人やな誰
My wife.
He's a very, eccentric teacher who always just so happens to be present every time there's high school girls swimming or playing volleyball. He has a nice, cute wife who is a great person, and she has the perfect trait that we all love, which is obliviousness to her husband's bullshit. And yet he is so transparent about being a pedophile, and I admire that. I don't know about you guys, but I prefer my criminals loud and proud so that we all know to avoid them. On the other hand, I think he's genuinely clinically insane and obsesses over high school girls in a way that may be solvable via CBT. If you're confused by which CBT I'm talking about, the answer is yes. Anyway, he's low on the list because he's not particularly successful in any of his grooming attempts. But I think it's impressive he manages to hold down his marriage while trying to groom high schoolers. Grooming is really just his side gig. The reason he's better than Makima isn't because he's a better groomer, it's because he's funnier, and if there's anything I look for in pedophiles, it's a sense of humor. For number 3, we have Daiyakichi from Usagi Drop. I remember being a young lad, about 13 or 14, looking for a nice wholesome anime to cleanse my brain after my second viewing of Boku no Pico. Usagi Drop seemed like a nice, adorable anime about a swell, compassionate guy adopting a young girl as they figure out domestic life together via their newfound parent-child dynamic. The only single dad stories I'd ever seen were just shitty Adam Sandler movies, so I was very excited. The opening was so adorable too. I want to dream forever, you know? As long as I'm with you, I'm happy. Girls sure are strong, you know? But sometimes we're weak, you know? And Daiyakichi said, "Yeah, I know," and then groomed her. I didn't know about all of this at the time. In fact, I was disappointed that there was never a season 2 to such a splendid, nourishing show that replenished the pure, innocent, childlike wonder of my deteriorating prepubescent mind. Had I truly been robbed? Where was Usagi Drop? So like any logical person, I sought out the manga. Daiyakichi is at number 3 because he managed to fool us all for several years, which is quite impressive. Nevertheless, I still wanted to Usagi dropkick this nigga, and it's not easy to make me angry at a fictional character. The mangaka is a woman, and I would love the chance to talk to her. Did she write this to relive some kind of trauma? Is it her secret fetish? Maybe both? Was she just trolling, epic style? Should she be in prison? I don't think so, but I would think so if she was a man. For number 2, we have Sato from Happy Sugar Life. That's right, folks, there's 2 women on this list. Maybe someday we'll close the gender pedophile gap. If you haven't seen Happy Sugar Life, don't. Contrary to the title, it's sad, it's a little bitter, and you might die. To summarize it, crazy yandere pink bitch number 347 kidnaps a small child, Shio, separating her from her family and forcing her to stay by her side, grooming her further in each episode. Yuri, more like your evenings should be spent in a cell. I watched this whole show in one day, and the reason Sato is at number 2 on the list is because her tactics to ensure that Shio remains within her grasp are quite impressive. Initially, I was pretty disturbed, and at the end, I was even more disturbed, but in the middle, I was also disturbed. The violence, the obsession, the stalking, all of it culminated into a series of intense grooming that I hardly even want to detail, lest I spoil such a beautiful show for all of you. Anyway, Sato dies in the official ending in the name of love for her groomie, Shio, and if there's anything I look for in my pedophiles, it's death. Honorable mentions include these people. And finally at number 1 we have Sakamoto from Nichijou. Strange pick, I understand. If anyone's a groomer in a show about cute girls doing cute things, why would it be a talking cat? Well, just look at this image right here. Notice anything significant? I'll explain. Last year I took Himari to an anime convention. We had a lot of fun, her and I, walking betwixt the weebs. A few people recognized her and we had a great time. Despite our joyful experience, a faint odor was often present in each room, emanating from our fellow patrons. No matter where we went, it was inescapable. Just a severe and unsurprising lack of deodorant. Wherever we attempted to take refuge from the stench, it only grew stronger. Due to how stunning and beautiful Himari is and how she therefore has high standards for her own life, we had to leave the convention prematurely just because of this. And that's why Sakamoto is the best anime groomer. Because unlike all the anime fans out there, he grooms himself. And there's a lot to learn from that alone. I always try my best to live by the phrase, groom yourself, not kids. That's something that hundreds, thousands, millions of otakus around the world could do their best to remember. Groom yourself, not kids. Thank you for listening to this public service announcement. Be sure to leave a like if you agree with my message and hit that subscribe button the same way you would hit a pedophile. Thank you.
I drink till I'm drunk, smoke till I'm high, stress along the hill, wake up in the sky, you can't tell me I ain't fly. I know I'm super fly, I know I'm super fly, the ladies love luxury, that's why they all fuck with me, out here with